You didn't land on this video by coincidence. Something inside you led you here. And if you're being honest, it's because a part of you is exhausted. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. Not the kind that disappears after a break. I'm talking about a deeper kind of fatigue. The one that sits quietly in your chest. The one that builds when you've been reaching, and still, nothing seems to arrive. You've been trying, haven't you? Not because you're impatient, not because you're weak, and definitely not because something is wrong with you, but because you care. You care so much about something, a dream, a person, a life you can almost feel, that the waiting starts to feel like punishment. Stay with me for a moment, because what I'm about to share might completely shift how you see everything that's happened to you this year. There's a truth nobody really talks about. People love to say things like, trust the process, or just manifest it. But they don't tell you what it actually feels like when you're in the middle of that process. Because the truth is, it doesn't feel magical. It feels like silence when there should be answers. It feels like sending something out into the world and watching it sit there, unanswered, unseen. It feels like standing in front of a door you've knocked on 100 times, and it still doesn't open. So what do? You knock harder. You try again, different angle, different strategy. You question yourself. You overanalyze everything. You push more. You sleep less. You keep adjusting, fixing, forcing. And then you find yourself lying awake at 2 a.m., running through endless scenarios in your head, trying to solve something that just won't move. That's what forcing feels like. It doesn't feel powerful. It doesn't feel in control. It feels like slowly drowning while pretending you're still swimming. And here's the part that hurts the most. The more you force it, the further away it seems. The relationship that never deepens no matter how much you give. The opportunity that keeps slipping through your hands. The version of yourself you're working so hard to become, always feeling just one step out of reach. It's like you're chasing something that keeps moving further away. But what if what you're chasing isn't ahead of you at all? What if it's trying to reach you from a different direction? Listen carefully. Life is not working against you. It's not ignoring you. It's not punishing you. It's doing something far more precise than that. And once you understand this, everything starts to make sense. Here's something most people never realize. Resistance is not your enemy. It's information. When something refuses to happen, despite your effort, your planning, your persistence, that resistance is trying to tell you something. It's not blocking you. It's guiding you. Think about your life for a second. Think about the moments that flowed. The times when things just worked. The right person appearing when you had finally stopped looking. An opportunity showing up when you had loosened your grip. A version of yourself emerging not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. There's a pattern there. A quiet signature. What is truly meant for you does not require you to beg for it. It requires you to become ready for it. And this is the part that might stay with you. The delay you're experiencing right now is not punishment. It's preparation. Right now, beneath the surface of your life, things are being arranged. Conversations you haven't heard yet. Opportunities you can't see yet. Connections that haven't crossed your path yet. Pieces are moving, not because you're forcing them, but because timing is aligning them. And timing is something far wiser than any plan you could create. Life is not late. It's precise. Even when it looks like nothing is happening, something is happening. Just not on your schedule, on the right one. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Surrender. I know that word can feel heavy, especially if you've spent your whole life working hard, pushing forward, making things happen. But surrender does not mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive. It doesn't mean sitting still and waiting for life to fix itself. Surrender means something deeper. It means you stop strangling the outcome. You still act. You still show up. You still move forward with intention. But you release the need to control exactly how it happens and exactly when. Because that tight grip you're holding, it's not helping. It's limiting. When you insist on one specific path, one exact outcome, you don't just create direction, you create limitation. Without realizing it, you begin closing doors that were never meant to look familiar. You narrow your world to a single version of how life should unfold. And in doing that, you unknowingly push away the very things that were trying to reach you in a different form. Because when you hold on that tightly, what you're really saying is this: it has to happen this way, at this exact time, with this exact person, in this exact form I've imagined. And anything that doesn't match that picture, you dismiss it, you overlook it, you walk right past it. But life doesn't operate inside your expectations. Life is not a straight line. It's not a fixed script. It's fluid. It's expansive. It sees possibilities your mind hasn't even touched yet. There are paths forming right now, paths you wouldn't recognize even if they were placed directly in front of you. And sometimes, life is trying to hand you something better. Not just different, better. But you keep saying no, not because it's wrong, but because it doesn't look like what you asked for. So pause for a second and really sit with this question. What if what's coming toward you right now, quietly, invisibly, patiently, is far greater than what you've been trying to force? What if the relationship that's finding its way to you makes the one you've been chasing feel like preparation, not loss? What if the connection you couldn't hold on to was never meant to be permanent, only meant to shape you? What if that closed door, the one that frustrated you, confused you, exhausted you, wasn't rejection? What if it was protection? Protection from a space that would have slowly drained your energy, your peace, your sense of self. You don't have to keep fighting. You don't have to keep forcing things into places they don't naturally fit. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to trust, even when nothing around you makes sense yet. Because here's a truth most people only understand much later. What is truly meant for you doesn't disappear because of time. It doesn't fade because of delay. It doesn't get taken away because you took a wrong turn. It doesn't miss you. If something belongs in your life, if it is deeply aligned with who you are becoming, it will find you. In the right moment, in the right form, in the right way, and not despite your surrender, but because of it. Now take a moment, not quickly, not casually. Actually pause. Look back at your life. Think of something that didn't work out, something that once felt like everything, a person who left, a job you were sure was yours, a plan you built carefully, only to watch it fall apart in your hands. At the time, it didn't feel like redirection. It felt like loss. It felt personal. It felt unfair. It felt like something was taken from you. But now, look again. What came after? Even if it was messy, even if it was painful, there was something in it, wasn't there? A lesson you couldn't ignore, a strength you didn't know you had, a shift in perspective, a version of yourself that only exists now because that thing didn't happen. That's not random. That's not coincidence. That's alignment unfolding in real time. This pattern has been repeating your entire life. Doors closing quietly before you stepped into the wrong rooms. Paths shifting subtly before you went too far in the wrong direction. Things falling apart just before they could take something important from you. You've been redirected again and again, guided more than you realize. But when you're in the middle of waiting, in the silence, in the uncertainty, you forget. So let this be your reminder, not a soft one, a real one. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. And you are not being punished. You are in a phase of preparation, so precise, so intentional, so tailored to the person you are becoming, that if you could see the full picture right now, you wouldn't try to rush it. You wouldn't try to control it. You wouldn't try to force it into happening faster. You would slow down. You would breathe. And you would trust it. Before you move on, before you scroll, before you let this moment pass, do something small but powerful. Say this to yourself: I release control. Say it quietly or say it out loud, but mean it. Not as a wish, as a decision, as a shift. Because the moment you stop gripping so tightly, the moment you stop trying to force every outcome, something changes. Not outside first, inside. And from that place, things begin to flow. Think about a river for a moment, not just as water moving forward, but as something alive with quiet intelligence. It doesn't fight every obstacle in its path. It doesn't stop and question why the rocks are there. It doesn't waste its energy trying to prove a point. When something stands in its way, it doesn't panic. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force. It simply responds. If the path shifts, it shifts. If the ground dips, it follows. If the current slows, it allows itself to slow. And when it meets something it cannot break through, it doesn't see that as failure. It sees it as direction. So it moves around it, quietly, naturally, effortlessly, not because it's weak, but because it understands something deeper. Not everything is meant to be pushed through. Some things are meant to be flowed around. The river never doubts where it's going, even when the path curves, even when it disappears into narrow spaces, even when it has to travel miles in a direction that doesn't look like progress. It trusts, without needing proof, without demanding guarantees. And because of that, without stress, without resistance, without urgency, it reaches the ocean every single time. Now pause, because this isn't just about a river. This is about you. You are not stuck. Even if it feels like nothing is moving, even if things have been quiet for longer than you expected, stillness is not stagnation. Sometimes, stillness is where real movement begins, just beneath the surface where you can't yet see it. You are not lost. Even if the path you're on looks nothing like the one you imagined, even if you've had to change direction more times than you can count, being redirected is not the same as being lost. Sometimes it's the clear sign that you are being guided somewhere better, and you are not falling behind. Even if it seems like everyone else is moving faster, achieving more, arriving sooner, you are not on their timeline. You are on yours. A timeline that is being shaped by things you cannot yet measure, by lessons you're still integrating, by growth that is happening quietly, internally, steadily. You are someone standing in the middle of a story that is still unfolding. Not finished, not finalized, still being written, line by line, moment by moment. There are chapters ahead of you that you haven't even glimpsed yet, conversations you haven't had, opportunities you haven't seen, moments that will change everything in ways you can't currently imagine. Right now, you're in a part of the story that might feel slow, maybe even uncertain, but this part matters. This is where things are being prepared. This is where foundations are being built, quietly, patiently, intentionally, so that what comes next can actually hold. There will come a time when you look back at this exact moment, and suddenly it will make sense, not in fragments, not in confusion, but clearly. You'll see why certain things didn't work, why certain doors stayed closed, why certain paths kept redirecting you, and instead of frustration, you'll feel something else, gratitude. So don't rush this part, don't try to skip ahead, don't force something that isn't ready to unfold yet, because when you force timing, you risk stepping into something that hasn't fully formed. And don't close yourself off to what's trying to arrive differently, because sometimes the answer doesn't come in the shape you expected. Sometimes it looks unfamiliar, sometimes it feels uncertain at first, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. It might just mean it's new. Instead, slow down. Not completely, not in a way that stops your life, but in a way that softens your urgency. Breathe a little deeper, think a little less forcefully, allow a little more space. Loosen your grip on the outcome, on the timeline, on the exact way things are supposed to happen. Because the tighter you hold on, the harder it becomes for anything new to enter. And allow life to meet you halfway, not by giving up your effort, but by balancing it with trust. You move forward, and you allow life to move toward you. Because where you're meant to go is not something you have to chase endlessly. It's not something that requires constant struggle, constant proving, constant exhaustion. It's something that aligns with you, something that recognizes you just as much as you recognize it. And right now, even if you can't see it yet, it's already moving toward you, quietly, steadily, unfolding in ways you don't yet understand, step by step, even when the steps feel small, even when they don't seem significant. They are, moment by moment. Even when those moments feel repetitive or slow, they're shaping something, and right on time. Not your time, not the world's time, the right time, the one that ensures that when it finally arrives, you are ready to receive it. And this time, you won't have to force anything, because it will feel like flow.